Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you watch this channel. When Rigathi Gachagua and William Samoei Ruto took over the government after Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's time, fertilizer was expensive. It was retailing at around 6,000. Then when they took over, they brought that charge to around 2,000. If I'm not wrong, 2,000, 3,000. And this to them was a very big plus because Kenyans were happy for the first time fertilizer's price had gone down. I wanted to just stay with me on this story because Rigathi Gachagua has told us something about a donation of fertilizer from the Russian government.
The Russian government gave us 40,000 metric tons of fertilizer.
The donation.
It was given to this man called Maisha Minerals by the president. And another 30,000 metric tons from Nigeria given to the same man. They blended and sold it to government. A donation from Russia, a donation from Nigeria was processed and sold to the Kenya government.
And this is in line with a story that I shared in this analysis in 2023 for those of you who have been following our videos. And during that time, I talked about Russian government. And that time, Putin came out clear to say that he had donated 30,000 metric tons to Kenya. Now, when Putin was making that statement, that was a time where Putin had organized the Russia-African Summit, whereby President of Africa had gone to Russia, but William Ruto skipped that event. Now, why am I bringing you all this history? It's very simple. Because Rigathi Gachagua has told us that the fertilizer that was sold to Kenya was indeed a donated fertilizer. So that is confirming our analysis of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. So I would like us to go extensively into this matter because Rigathi has shocked the nation. Well, people thought that the fertilizer which was being given to Kenyans at a free price was actually a fertilizer ambao Kenya had procured. Kumbe ni fertilizer ambao ilikuwa ipewe bure kwa Kenya. This is what is shocking the nation right now, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get further on this story, kindly like this video, subscribe to this channel, and thank you so much for your support. So without wasting much of your time, ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to this statement from Rigathi Gachagua. Listen to what Rigathi Gachagua said about the Russian fertilizer.
And I told the president, you cannot do that. You know, Midekal Inturi is innocent. It is yourself and Felix Kosgei who are buying fertilizer in State House. In fact, as we speak today, I want to tell the Kenyan farmers, today there is no fertilizer and the long rains are here. Because fertilizer has not been prepared. Because it's the president himself who does it. He decides from who at what price. And this has taken time. Okay?
All right.
And again, finally, the Russian government gave us 40,000 metric tons of fertilizer.
The donation.
It was given to this man called Maisha Minerals by the president. And another 30,000 metric tons from Nigeria given to the same man. They blended and sold it to government. A donation from Russia, a donation from Nigeria was processed and sold to the Kenya government at the same price that we were buying fertilizer from. And I would like you, now that I've told you, go and ask the Ministry of Agriculture, the fertilizer that came from Russia as a donation, which farmers were given free of charge? The ones that came from Nigeria, which farmers were given free of charge? The president gave it to Maisha Minerals, Defki, his friend, blended, packed, and sold to the Kenya government. They pocketed billions of shillings. That is why we are saying what Muturi was saying, it is true. You know, the president would speak in cabinet. Mimi sitaki ufisadi katika serikali yangu. Na mimi I will be merciless to anybody who is caught up in corruption. You know, people will just look at him because all the procurement in this government is done by William Ruto. In fact, in cabinet, behind the scenes, because nobody could speak openly except me and maybe Muturi. The president in cabinet behind him is known as the principal procurement officer of the Kenya government. All decisions are made in State House, in fact, even in affordable housing. All the contractors are decided in State House. In fact,
Very well, ladies and gentlemen. I know that now Rigathi Gachagua na William Ruto watachafuana. Bado watachafuana. But this story of fertilizer hata inamshika Rigathi Gachagua pia, because I remember in 2022, he is the one who flagged off that fertilizer, and during that time when he flagged off the fertilizer, Rigathi dropped a statement. And I want to take you through this statement that Rigathi told us. He said, "I assure all farmers throughout the country that we are private to all fertilizer requirement for the long rain season in 2023. Government has commenced consultations with key actors and stakeholders to ensure quality, affordable, and accessible fertilizer will be available to all farmers." Then he went further to say, "In this regard, one of our first pronouncements was to lower fertilizer prices to set the pace for this intervention. The National Treasury has already availed 3.55 billion. So let's talk about this 3.55 billion. He told us that the National Treasury had availed 3.55 billion to probably secure that fertilizer. But today, in that explosive interview, Rigathi has told us that indeed the fertilizer which was given to farmers was one that was donated by the Russian government. Now, just like I was telling you, in 2023, Putin confirmed that he had given Kenyans 30,000 metric tons of fertilizer. So during that Russia-Africa summit, when Putin was making this statement, I suspect Putin maybe was not happy after realizing that the fertilizer which he had given Kenya to caution farmers from the escalating high cost of living was actually sold to Kenyans. You see, that time when Putin was making this gesture, there was this Ukraine-Russia war which had affected the high cost of living, and that time dollar ilikuwa inapanda to a rate whereby it was unimaginable. So Putin must have given Africa, certain countries in Africa, that fertilizer ndio citizens wasiumie. So he was shocked when he realized that that fertilizer was not given for free to Kenyans so that Kenyan farmers can enjoy. It was indeed sold to Kenyans. So still on this matter of fertilizer, this story is a bit explosive because there are things which Rigathi is telling us. First of all, Rigathi is mentioning Enrico Skei, who was a CS for agriculture back then. And he says that Mithika Linturi was just a flower girl in the government. Now the dealings were being done by the president and Enrico Skei. So this is a statement that Rigathi Gachagua has told us. Again, Rigathi Gachagua is telling us that all fertilizer procurements were done in State House. So this is another point that Rigathi Gachagua has shared during that explosive interview. Then there's a company by the name Maisha Minerals, which is associated with the DEVKI, who is a partner of William Ruto. So again, we are told here by Rigathi Gachagua that some of the donated fertilizer was given to Maisha Minerals. That is according to Rigathi Gachagua. And that was so that I think Maisha Minerals would in turn sell to farmers a donated fertilizer. So that is what Rigathi Gachagua is trying to tell us. Now, about this point of Russia government, we have explained it. Rigathi talks about 40,000 metric tons, and that in 2023, Putin gave the government of Kenya some tons to caution Kenyans against the escalating high cost of living. So, in very few words, ladies and gentlemen, we know that William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua saizi hawaelewani. So because saizi hawaelewani, in fact, like I told you some times ago, for those of you who've been following our analysis, I told you that the best time to get information is when friends have turned enemies. So what we have confronted with now ni kwamba we are in a scenario where Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua watazidi kuchafuana. we saw what Mithika Linturi talked about, what Justin Muturi talked about. Now you've heard what Gachagua has talked about. What Gachagua said matters this fertilizer. Hapa kuna some ukweli, especially the part of Henry Kosgei na hiyo mambo ya State House procurement. Hapo sina enough evidence, but Rigathi has told us. But this part of fertilizer from Russia, I can say maybe that is true, because we heard this from the Russian president Putin, when Putin told the president who had gone to Russia during the Russia-African summit that he indeed gave certain countries in Kenya, certain countries in Africa, fertilizer. But then he mentioned these countries na akataja Kenya. So because alitaja Kenya, there are two reasons why he could have mentioned Kenya. One, because Kenya did not provide a delegation during this, did not honor the invite. One. Two, by that time, Ruto was had some close relationship with Putin, with actually Biden, sorry. Ruto had some close relationship with Biden, and Biden was Putin's enemy. So there was that kind of arrangement that saw Putin, because of that reason, the relationship between between Ruto and Biden, there was no way Ruto would go to Russia. Hiyo ingedent ile relationship between yeye na Biden. But you see now that the president is Trump, maybe if maybe Ruto had secured his term saizi na Trump na yeye walikuwa naelewana, maybe, and then when Putin decides to call for another Russia African summit, labda Ruto angeenda, kwa sababu Russia saizi Putin na Trump ni watu ambao wanaelewana, wanajuana kwa vilemba. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to raise my case there, but based on Rigathi Gachagua's statement, what can you say? Just call below in the comment section and tell us something. What can you say about this explosive statement? When friends become enemies, the truth always comes out. What we are being confronted with now ni maukweli tu kuachiliwa, na ni maukweli left, right and center, and maybe the truth will continue to come out. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to raise my case there, but just go below in the comment section and tell us about your take matters regarding this explosive statement. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe. Like this video. Till we catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.